Virtual summits are the most powerful online marketing tool available to grow your list, launch your platform, make more money, and create an impact in the world, even if you're just getting started. If you are ready to take your summit to the next level, then tune into the Virtual Summit podcast with Dr. Mark T. Wade.
Hi, I'm Dr. Mark T. Wade, founder of Virtual Summit Software and creator of the One Day Summit Formula. And I'm on a mission to help you, the summit host, get your summit out to the world in a powerful and impactful way. So let's get started. And for today's episode, we have something pretty special lined up for you. We are going to give you a sneak peek at one of our Summit Talks sessions. That's right. We have our Summit Talk Summit going live, and I want to give you a sneak peek at it. So you're going to get the audio version of this episode, but what I want you to do is make sure you head over to summittalks.online to get access to all of the amazing Summit Talk sessions and video sessions waiting for you over there. So in the meantime, enjoy this audio version of another amazing Summit Talks. Curious how an in-person Pet Expo went from Wiener Dog Racing to dominating a 2-day virtual summit? Just from hosting your own summit, your industry may begin looking to you for the answers of how your industry should grow. If you produce in-person B2B or consumer trade shows and want to know how you can switch to virtual and succeed, then this session is for you. Hey there, Summit hosts. I'm Dr. Mark T. Wade, founder of Virtual Summit Software, CEO of Viral Summits, and your host here on Summit Talks, the largest, most impactful virtual summit for Summit hosts. Now, we are in for an absolute treat in this session because we've got legendary Brittany Seeley with us, who is a producer and digital marketing executive at PV Events. Now, Brittany operates under the philosophy that the success of her exhibitors, sponsors, and speakers at their experiential and engaging consumer trade shows is how they define success. She also had 2 consumer trade shows receive awards from Premier Resource for event and meeting professionals in US and Canada. Additionally, the Vancouver Baby and Family Fair and the Vancouver Health Show were both named top 100 events in Vancouver. Grab your pen, grab your paper, because we're going to have some fun on this one. Brittany, thanks so much for being here with us today.
Thank you so much, Mark.
Well, we're going to have some fun. I can't wait to dig into the Wiener Dog show races and how we converted that into a virtual event, or the whole Pet Expo, with that being said, making some light of that. But there is a lot of information and experience that you've just accumulated that I cannot wait to tell our summit hosts about. But before we get into all that summit goodness, I'd love for you to just take a few more moments and tell our summit hosts just a little bit more about yourself.
Okay, so I actually live in Canada. I work and own with another producer, PV Events, and we produce 6 to 9 consumer trade shows within Western Canada. We produce them within the themes of the health shows, women's expos, pet expos, and baby and family fairs. I do all of the digital marketing, websites, copy, and content creation for all of those events and for the entire company. We have never done a virtual summit before this happened, but due to COVID, we were in a position where we either had to cancel our May event, which was our Victoria Pet Expo in Victoria, BC, or we could put it online. And we had there was a lot of people within our industry that kind of went in the other direction, and they canceled. And we wanted to try something different.
That's amazing. That is incredible. I love it. The engine, the creativity, and the uniqueness behind that, and the never give up spirit right there. So that's coming through. I know a lot of our summit hosts have been in similar situations with this. Some of our summit hosts are in-person event producers or hosts, and they have had to cancel things, or are looking for ways to now position and go online, go virtual. So this is going to be very valuable for all of you as well. Now, with that being said, I want to jump into the summit. So let's talk about one of the first summits. Give us an idea of what it was, how many days, what was it called, what was the premise, kind of talk us through it.
So Our Victoria Pet Expo is a 2-day event. We usually have 80 to 100 exhibitor booths within the pet industry, and we usually have 10 to 20 speakers. With our other events, we do a lot of speakers that center around education, but with our Pet Expo, we actually let people bring their pets to the event. So we mainly focus on entertainment. It's a very fun and kind of chaotic weekend, but the pet lovers of Victoria and even as far as Vancouver, they'll travel to it. They love it. And so one of the challenges we kind of had was that we have a lot of really interactive, fun activities that happen live in person at the Victoria Pet Expo over the 2 days. So we have Wiener Dog Races, which are famous and we're well known for. We have tons of people travel very far distances to come to these events.
Virtual Summit's software makes hosting a summit easier than ever. The only software in the world designed specifically for hosting a summit lets you set up a summit in a matter of hours with no tech skill or team needed. You can try out the Virtual Summit's software free at virtualsummits.com. But hurry, this is a limited offer.
And we also do dogs dock diving trials. So we actually inflate a giant pool indoors, and we have dog competitions of how long they can dive, or how long, they can jump and dive into the water. It's crazy. It's really crazy. There's a lot of cleanup. There's a lot of water, and there's a lot of liability actually with the pet expos that we have to kind of work around. So we already kind of have a creative mindset when it comes to these shows, because we're always trying to think out of the box of how can we make this safer? How can we make sure nothing happens to the people and the dogs and the cats who come? And so generally our pet expos are 2 days and they're in person. With our virtual pet summit, we not only did we put it online, but we also switched from pure entertainment and demos to education. And what was really interesting and valuable for us was our audience was right there with us. Like, they were not disappointed. They were actually so excited. And going forward, when we are able to produce in-person events again, I believe this was a major learning opportunity for us, because we got to try something with our audience and they loved it. So we didn't focus on one pet, and that, I guess, is the hard thing. Yes, the pet industry is a niche within itself, but we didn't focus in on cats or dogs. We kind of did it all, and that was not risky, but somewhat risky when you're doing something online, because I found that doing the marketing, I was marketing to cat lovers and dog people and trick training and all of it, and I'd get the write-in saying, well, is there going to be anything for cats? And because they'd see the dog ad. And so there was some challenges with that and some kind of risk going into that. But what actually ended up happening is the crossover was beautiful, and the engagement was, I would say, like, for the people that registered, there's probably 90% of them were with us for the whole 2 days online, which is huge, that we were actually able to convince people to sit in their homes and watch us on their screen. Like, I'm so grateful for that, and I don't take that lighthearted at all, because mostly when people are coming to our in-person events, they're coming for the dock diving. They're coming to see their favorite exhibitor and grab the product that they need, and then they're out to the park, right? So it was actually such an honor to be a host of people giving full attention for 2 full days straight. And another thing that I thought was really cool was that I was looking at their faces. And as a producer, we always stand at the back of the show, of the in-person events, and you kind of get to absorb it. And there's moments of calm, usually like 2 minutes in between something going on. But there's those moments, and you take it all in, and you look, and you get to see the smiles or a hug or laughter between a consumer and an exhibitor, and it warms you up. But what was crazy about this was that we actually did it in a meeting. No, we did it in a meeting style where we actually got to see everyone's face. Yeah, so it wasn't a webinar, it was a meeting style. And that enabled us to see everyone's face. And people would turn off their cameras every once in a while, but for the most part, I was getting to see every reaction and getting to take it in. And it's not common when you get to look at hundreds of people's faces all at once, or they nod in agreement with the speaker. And so it was intensely educational for us as producers to see that the pet industry doesn't just want to have fun with their pets, they want to learn. And so that's kind of what we did.
That's awesome. Well, you've given me a lot to work with right here. We've got lots of questions to dive into, and this is just one, such a great idea. Hats off to you, Brittany, for being able to pull this off and, kind of leading your industry and doing this. Like you said, most of the other people just shut it down. Instead, you found a creative way to make it happen. Now, with anything said or done, it's always the pioneers that are going to take on the challenges. There's risks, there's complications, there's things that happen, and the pioneers are the ones that figure that out. But you also reap all the or most of the rewards because you're the first ones doing that. So for all of you out there that are sitting there thinking, well, I don't know if I could do that, or I don't know if that makes sense for my summit. I mean, right here, Brittany's talking about an in-person pet expo that is primarily attended because of the shows that happen. Although I would say, COVID, out of the scenario, even if it was still virtual, that you could have events and record those and still show things like that. I still feel like there'd be a lot of amazing, even entertainment aspects that you could do virtually. But this is one of those great examples that even if you you can do what you think you can't do. And Brittany and her team were able to put that into real life action. So questions I want to dive into. You talked about, you changed it from entertainment to educational. So this was more information based. Talk to us about what that meant. How did you structure the content? And was it interview based, presentation based? Just kind of talk to us about that aspect.
So it was basically all of it was live, which again is sometimes risky. Not everybody is ready for that, but we did a tech check before with the speakers and we kind of planned that out. So it was actually incredible to do it live, not knocking anyone doing it differently, but that was incredible. The feedback the speakers got, like they were floored with how many questions they got and the engagement they got. So we did ours live, and the way that we structured it was that we tried to do like a lot of education, something a little bit fun, and then we actually had a fitness workout for the humans that were watching. But we did it because we wanted to have movement breaks. We wanted to have you absorb and get information. And we were also thinking about dogs. Like if you're a pet owner, you need to take your dog out. You can't just sit for the whole day. So we allowed and we thought about, as a pet owner, what does that look like sitting for a whole weekend indoors? And we also switched our hours from generally we do 10 to 5, 10 to 4, Saturday, Sunday. And we actually bumped it up and did it earlier in the day because we didn't want to compete with the sunshine. And we fully believe that everyone should be outside with their pets doing their thing. So we really thought about what does it mean to be a pet owner on a weekend. And the way we structured the actual sessions was that we kind of put it into categories. The way I planned it out, I sort of had color coded, like we want some DIYs, demos, stuff that they can do live with the presenters. And then we also did some like major education. And then we also had 2 celebrities. So between the 2 days, we tried to split it up and kind of match it. And there was not actually one single session that we doubled up on. So both days were completely independent from one another. And that's another thing. When you do in-person events, sometimes you try and utilize a speaker twice because you're already flying them in or they're traveling to get to you. So you'll do a Saturday session and then a Sunday. With this, both days being independent of one another, I think that's also why we had so much engagement both days, is because it was happening live once. That was it. You had to be there to see it or you missed it, kind of thing. So, yeah.
Now, so were those sessions in which that is an incredible creativity and thought that went into that? Were these sessions that you had with the speakers, were they primarily like interview based? Were you asking questions, or were they presenting something, or was it like a keynote speech? How was that?
We had a few keynotes. We had 2, one each day we had an Ask a Vet, and each day we had a different vet. It was with the same facility, but one specialized and one was a general vet. So that was really interesting. There's a lot of live kind of diagnoses that were happening, and owners were just so excited to go to their vets now with that information. So we had that, and that was more of a Q&A, but also with the audience, and we would just read the questions out. But for the most part, everyone was a presenter. Now, keeping in mind, like, we produce events, so our network of incredible human beings is so large. So we kind of knew who we were dealing with, and we know their presence on camera and in front of an audience. So there wasn't actually, we didn't Q&A many of them. It was really only the Ask the Vet sessions that we Q&A'd. And we had one of the celebrities was Brad Pattison from End of My Leash, and he gave 11 tips that are commonly asked to him as a dog behaviorist. And that was really cool, really, really awesome. And all of the energy of the speakers, it was hard to not see how incredible it was when you bring amazing people together, the energy that really comes from that. So yeah.
That's awesome. That is amazing. Okay. So let's look into, you mentioned some of the liability here on your in-person events, which is a very interesting concept because most virtual summit hosts don't have to consider that or don't have to think about that. So what did you find as far as overhead, liability, or other aspects of running an in-person event that were no longer either an issue or they were much less of an issue? What kind of things played into or benefited by taking it virtual?
Yeah, okay. So we allow everyone to bring their pets, which is a decision we made based on feedback we got. When we purchased the Victoria Pet Expo, they weren't allowing pets. And so our first year of taking it over, people would come with their pets and then they'd be so upset. So we changed that very quickly. And with doing that, we had a legal waiver that was 3 pages long because they're bringing their pet into this facility. And a lot of people think of dog parks and pet expos as a great place to socialize. And sometimes it can be, but you also have to have training behind that. So we had strong boundaries. We had strong boundaries around that and clear signage around the event about where you bring your dog, where you don't. So that was a major liability of just allowing people to bring their pets as well. People brought snakes and parrots. It was always something new. Sometimes there was 2 wolves, actually. Somebody brought 2 hybrid wolf dogs. And so that liability completely went down. There's the facility cost, which is quite expensive. To fill an indoor pool is also quite expensive. Sometimes sponsorship takes care of it, and other times we're the ones footing the bill. So that was gone. The racetrack that we built for the Dash Hound Dash, we didn't do that. Yeah, so mostly I would say the space rental, the pipe and drape from the display company, we pay for that. And so there was a lot of money that we saved. And as far as overhead on what it cost us to run this, it was very minimal. I actually used Mark's virtual summit software to produce our event, and that's how I took registration. And I actually found a code that he was so generous to put out into the internet world. And so I actually was able to do the virtual summit software with no cost as well. So it was honestly just like, there was silver linings during this time of COVID. I know it was a difficult time, but there was major silver linings and just a lot of incredible people giving so much that really helped.
Be sure to check out the speaker management tool inside your virtual summit software, which lets you quickly and easily recruit and manage your speakers on your virtual summit, literally eliminating hundreds of hours of work. Get more information at virtualsummits.com.
Well, I'm really glad to hear that. Of course, we wanted to do our part over here at Virtual Summit Software as well, and it's awesome to hear somebody benefited from that. Now, you mentioned sponsors. Let's go into the sponsors aspect. So did you keep sponsors on your virtual event? How did you talk to sponsors? Let me take one step back. So you had this event already planned in person and it was supposed to happen, right? So
Yeah.
You've got sponsors lined up. You've got things already in place. You now switch to virtual. Tell us the conversation you had with sponsors. Did you bring them on and what happened from that?
We did bring them on. Anyone who was currently a sponsor of ours for the Pet Expo, we did keep as a sponsor, and we acknowledged them throughout the event. And actually one of them came and was our keynote speaker about how to reduce inflammation in your pet and how to increase pets' immunity. So that was really incredible. There was some fear surrounding there was a lot of fear during COVID, I think, for all business owners of all different types, and it's understandable completely. We had fear. There was a point where I actually had a conversation with my co-producer where I was like, yeah, that's ridiculous. I'm not going to be producing a pet expo. Like, why would I put pets online? Like, I actually said that. And then throughout COVID and with learning on virtual, I actually had a mindset shift. And there's some people who didn't have that mindset shift and kind of stayed in stayed in fear. And so there was some people, some exhibitors and some sponsors who were somewhat afraid and didn't want to be paying for us to learn, kind of. And so we absolutely understood that. We said that's not at all what you're doing. And so there's conversations and understanding and yeah, but for most part, everyone jumped on board and was really awesome about it. And they shared with their lists and got involved in the ways that they could. I think going forward, the opportunity for sponsorship is huge, especially with something like Mark's software, because he actually has this little section where you can put a little lead magnet and they can actually be growing their list just from being on your summit. So I think confidently, like we weren't necessarily super confident. Like I was like, I'm doing this. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's not like I was rock solid confident on it. So I think going forward, we know so much more now. And I think we could confidently sell sponsorship, and there's ways that we could work it in. Even just from learning on day 1 to day 2, we learned so much. So yeah.
And then now the conference in person or the expo in person, is it free to attend or is it paid? And then the virtual one, did you have it free or paid?
So to attend our in-person events, there is a fee, and based on the theme and the demographic of the people, generally it goes like a few dollars up and down, and also the difference between Vancouver and Victoria when we produce. But our Victoria Pet Expo was originally $8 to attend. Because of COVID, we actually didn't want to charge people, and we didn't actually go into this wanting to even make money, which sounds crazy, I know. We probably should have, but we probably could have made a lot. But we went in trying to help our community because there was, yeah, I mean, it hit everyone so hard. Now, I mean, we're at the end of July. Sorry, I just talked about the time. That's what I was going to say, end of July. But now we're a little farther along, and so it's hard to kind of remember how stuck we felt at that time during COVID, but there was a lot of fear and people were very confused. And so we actually just wanted to produce an event that brought people's spirits up. And our Pet Expo is so largely attended and important to people that we offered it free, and people immediately were signing up and registering it. They loved it. And I'm sure our next in-person, they'll now expect it to be free. So because we did this.
Yeah. Well, the in-person one doesn't have to be free. You can always keep those boundaries there. Now, before we jump, I know you got some cool stuff to show us, which I'm excited to take a peek at. Before we jump into that, I would love for your, what kind of feedback did you get from the attendees from this virtual? Because again, we have some summit hosts here who are in-person event producers or coordinators, and they're probably thinking, well, my attendees won't like it as much as the in-person one. So with the feedback of the in-person event, tell us the feedback that you got from the attendees on your virtual event.
Absolutely loved it. They were just so encouraging. Even when there's a few technical glitches, there was not one single complaint, because there was just this level of understanding during COVID that we were all kind of learning this virtual world together. So everyone was really accepting. There was not a single complaint. And as an event producer, there's always something. There's always something at our in-person events. And it's not even a big complaint, but it's something, right? There's just so many things that go on. And so you're kind of used to that. You kind of expect it. And it wasn't until days later after our event that I was kind of like, oh my God, like, even when things were really kind of chaotic and we were trying to figure some things out online, like there was not a single person complaining. And so the people that attended were just incredibly engaged and thankful and so grateful. And even the dog people who stayed and watched the cat stuff, like they were so grateful and happy to be there. It was incredible.
That is awesome. And I love that. So that's really great feedback for all of you sitting there at home watching this right now, thinking that my audience won't love it as much or it won't be as good. The feedback is already in. I mean, we've been producing virtual events from summits to conferences to workshops, and all of my colleagues in the virtual space or in-person space that have converted to virtual have been saying the feedback is as good or even better. And you're hearing it right now from Brittany as well. So Brittany, let's take a look at what you got for us. So go ahead and share your screen with us and kind of give us that little summit show and tell.
Yeah, okay. So what I did was our event was already planned and scheduled. And although I did use the Summit software to take in registrations, so anytime someone clicked on one of these buttons, it would take them to Mark Summit software, which also gave out the speakers and who was talking, and then they would register there. But I kind of wanted to keep the audience here because that's where they were, and I didn't want to lose our Victoria Pet Expo audience. So I kind of did it in the way that we did it, with a piece of paper and just crossed out what was no longer and what was. And so all the buttons linked to Virtual Summit software registration page. This was just about the event. I had to change a few things here, but for the most part, I tried to keep the original information and just kind of crossed it out because I thought that there was value in that for people to see that we're actually your local Pet Expo. We're just going a little bigger this year. So yeah, that's just kind of a take through. I mean, generally this would give the price right here. So we changed that. I kind of have that set up. Again, these all link to the software. This is the entertainment. When you click this actually goes to Mark's page, and there's our sponsors who we kept on. We're very excited and proud. Thank you. And yeah, for this, the features, you know, we had to cross those out, but yeah, it was incredible. And one thing to mention with going virtual is the reach that you now have, not just with your audience, but actually with, I'm not sure why this isn't going here, but actually with your speakers as well. So we didn't have to fly anybody in. We didn't have to ask them to travel from Vancouver to Victoria over a ferry. And so this is kind of just a quick look through our schedule. This was our Ask a Vet. Essential oil safety with pets at home. That's actually so important. I don't think a lot of people know about that one. This was our movement break. Talia, she did this from her home with her dog. Yeah, like Amber, she's American, and we were able to have her on, and she talked about going camping with her cats. Brad Pattison, he's a pet industry celebrity. He was in Kelowna, and he was in a hotel room just before a hike. Christy Joy, she's also American, and she talked about how to develop your pet social media portfolio. Jason Walken, he's one of our big sponsors from Purica. He talked about pets' immune health. We had how to do pet massage, and so we actually had people on their videos doing pet massage with Marta. That was really incredible to watch. And then on Sunday, similar, we had another vet. She talked about how to bath your dog at home because, as you know, like dog groomers were actually shut down during COVID as well. Then this one, Jordan, she actually owns a company in Toronto, Canada, that gives animals to producers for movies. So that was incredible. And I had so many questions about the animals that she was using for the shows that I already watch. And then, yeah, live readings with your pet. So this one was incredible to do live because we actually had a girl come on with her dog, and I have since followed up with her, and she changed a few things that were suggested in this live reading, and it's literally changed her dog's life. Her dog was scared of slippery surfaces. She did not tell Kristen that at all, and Kristen picked that up. And then, yeah, she's now carpeted her whole house, and her dog has no anxiety, and it's incredible. So then we had cat school, and then Sarah Carson, she's Canadian, but she lives in America now, and she was on America's Got Talent. So she actually gave her canine workshop on Zoom, and then everyone had their cameras on, and all these little kids were doing the workshop with her, and little girls were going, "Oh my God, I can't believe it's Sarah." Like, they felt so special that they got to be on with her. So
That's awesome.
yeah, it was incredible. It was so incredible.
With the Ever Summit feature inside the Virtual Summit software, you can rerun your summit as if it were live, ongoing forever with one click of a button. This now lets you continue to use your summit forever, bringing in qualified and engaged leads every month into your business. Get more information at virtualsummit.com.
That is amazing. That is very, very impressive. I mean, I don't even have a pet, but now I want to go attend your Pet Expo now. With that being said, two last questions. First question before we wrap this up is, with that schedule there, were they already scheduled to be at the expo, or did you reach out and find people specifically for the virtual event?
We reached out, the other producer, Virginia, and we reached out, and we actually made this schedule for the Virtual Pet Summit, because we had to cancel a lot of the entertainment that just couldn't kind of come online with us. So yeah, it just started with a list of things we absolutely cannot do. And then there was another list of things we can do. And it's incredible, because I would have thought months and months ago that the list of things we can do would be so small. But really, it was like, we can't have a pool, we can't race dogs. And then the list of things we can do was so long and large. And so we just went after it.
Yeah. No, that is incredible. Oh, I love it. This has been phenomenal, Brittany. Thank you so much for this. Last question here is, what would you say has been the biggest positive impact that you've had from hosting this virtual event?
Well, actually, there's probably two things. I'll make it quick, but I have a tracker on the website. So I get a text every time somebody goes to the website, and there's probably, like, I don't even know, I should turn the notification off, because at least every single day there's 20 people from across the world. I have no idea how they continue to find our event, because I'm no longer marketing it, but it is everywhere. And because I went so hard with the organic marketing, it's stuck on the internet now. So the follow-up of people that are reaching out saying, can we get the recordings, and can we do it again, and when are you going to do it again? And then people on LinkedIn reaching out to me saying, I really want my product to be in it, please do it again, this time I want to sponsor it. So that, and I'm not even asking for that, and that's just coming to us just because of what's still stuck on the internet. And then the other thing within our pet industry, there's task force within BC and Alberta that are kind of fighting to get events back. And we just took a different path. Like, we actually haven't joined those task force. We're friends with a lot of event producers, and we fully support them. And we will be there with you when in-person events open again. But until then, like, we're good. Like, we're very happy expanding and being creative and finding new ways to serve our exhibitors, speakers, and sponsors. So within our own community of event industry professionals, like, we kind of set ourselves as an authority. Many people have actually reached out to us and asked us how we did it, and could we host theirs, and could we plan theirs. So, like, there was just the negatives of doing it were so tiny and small, they weren't even there, and the positives were huge, and in so many unseen ways. So yeah.
That is incredible. That is such great feedback. Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. So happy for you. And I'm so thankful for you taking your time and sharing all this information with us. I know our summit hosts, especially our summit hosts who've been running in-person events now, feel excited and motivated to go jump in and try it. You're going to see all of Brittany's information here next to the video. Reach out to her, follow her on social, like her stuff. I'm sure she'd be more than happy to answer any questions you want to send her way. Also, we are so lucky. Brittany is giving us a special Summit Talks bonus, which you're going to see right below this video on the organic marketing on Instagram. Brittany, you want to just tell us just a little bit more about that?
Yes. So because of COVID, we didn't have a lot of money coming in, because we weren't selling a lot of booths, and we weren't selling a lot more sponsorships that we would have been. So I had to get really creative, which I love doing with digital marketing, because there's so many ways to market yourself organically. You don't need to be spending a bunch of money. You just need to be strategic. So with a few influencers, lots of our speakers actually would just reshare simply because I tagged them in it. So there's a lot of tips that I've put together into one document about how to really maximize your growth and your reach on Instagram organically, like without money. And then even if you wanted to put a bit of money on it with these tips that I've given you, you're going to soar. It's awesome. I'm so excited for you guys to have it. And please reach out if you have any questions.
Oh, that's so nice. Grab it right now. It's below this video. Don't wait. You'll forget. So grab it now, and you can use that so much on your upcoming summit. Brittany, this has been phenomenal. Thank you again for your time, your energy, and your wisdom and sharing that with us today.
Thank you, Mark, so much. I couldn't have done it without your software. I truly couldn't have.
Thank you. And thank you, Summit hosts, for hanging out with Brittany and I. I'm Dr. Mark T. Wade, your host here on Summit Talks. Remember, your message matters. And one of the most powerful ways to get that message out to the world is with a virtual summit. And don't forget to grab your Summit Super Pack, which has your all access pass, my one-day summit formula, and 6 months of the virtual summit software, plus some very special bonuses from our partners, speakers, and sponsors. But it's not going to be there forever. So grab it while you still can before it's gone. And I'll see you on the next session.
Thanks for listening. Now don't forget to subscribe and leave a 5-star review on the Virtual Summit podcast. Head over to the show notes to check out all the links and resources from this episode, and be sure to grab your free trial of the Virtual Summit software.
Now, I want to end this episode by saying to all the Summit hosts listening right now, I believe in you, and you can do this. Summits are by far one of the most powerful ways to quickly grow your list, launch your platform, make more money, and most importantly, make an impact in the world, even if you're just getting started. So don't get caught up in analysis paralysis, because the world needs to hear your message, and there are people who are waiting for you to help them. So just get started, because imperfect action is always better than no action. Thank you, and see you on the next episode.